And staying with President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration, the incoming commander-in-chief has picked former presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. In a social media post, Donald Trump said that Americans have been crushed by deception and misinformation when it comes to public health, and RFK will work to make America healthy once again. Ironically, the 70-year-old has a history of spreading conspiracy theories about the safety and efficacy of vaccines, which scientists say are false. RFK launched his presidential bid last year, first as a Democrat against President Joe Biden and later as an independent. During his campaign, he proposed policies to promote holistic medicines, overhaul food safety and environmental guidelines, and restructure funding for vaccine research. He also touted the effectiveness of raw milk and anti-parasitic drugs that has been disproved as a cure for COVID. Now, to be clear, the ex-presidential nominee has clarified that he will not be taking anyone's vaccine away.
I'm going to require, and first of all, anybody who wants to take a vaccine, I'm not going to get in their way. If you want a vaccine, or if you want to vaccinate your children, those vaccines will be available. But I am going to tell the truth to Americans, and I'm going to do for the first time good science, right? When I was a kid, there were 3 vaccines, and I took all 3. There were 3 that were mandatory, that were recommended, which essentially means mandatory, and I was compliant.
Now in August, RFK Jr. later ended his election bid and endorsed Donald Trump, reportedly in exchange for a position in his administration.
Don't you want a president who's going to protect our children? And who's going to protect women's sports? And who's going to stop dividing this country along racial lines? And don't you want a president who's going to end the corruption at the federal agencies, at FDA, at NIH, at CDC, and at the CIA?
Now, after his victory over Vice President Kamala Harris, the president-elect teased that RFK would, in fact, oversee the public health portfolio.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but, Bobby, leave the oil to me.
Now, following his appointment, Kennedy thanked Donald Trump, adding that he will work toward putting an end to the chronic disease epidemic while making Americans the healthiest people on earth. However, his selection has not sat well with prominent vaccine makers whose stocks plunged right after the announcement. Meanwhile, pro-vaccine advocates say RFK Jr. poses a clear and present danger to the nation's health, and his appointment to America's top health post is like courting a policy-driven public health catastrophe. Clearly, Donald Trump's latest pick has roiled health experts and has sparked a nationwide debate that is expected to peak during what is certainly expected to be a very tense and heated confirmation battle in Congress.